My name is Robert Brant, and I'm a commander in the Navy, retired. I was on a destroyer out of Norfolk, Virginia, and I was a 3-year reserve, qualified as a fleet OD, made 3 or 4 trips to the Med, and I was looking for a change. Captain said I should go to destroyer school. That was a logical career move. So I was reading a magazine one day called All Hands, and I read about the swift boats in Vietnam. There's a little picture there, and I said, I was single. I said, that looks like that might be fun. You have your own little boat, because supposedly you're groomed to have your own ship someday. When I have your own boat, be in charge and all that. Maybe I'd like to do that. So I was stationed in Norfolk on the Douglas H. Fox at that time, and I said, I think I'll just get in my car, take a day's leave, and I'll drive up and see my detailer in Washington. Never saw him before, never talked to him, but I knew he was our rep in Washington. At least I was told that. So, how hard is it to drive to Washington from Norfolk? So I drove to Washington, found a place to park at the Navy Annex, and went in. It was kind of agog of everything, because there was just people in uniform and everything. I mean, it was like kind of like a zoo. Okay, I finally find my detailer, and he was one of probably 30, and they all owned about 1,500 lieutenant junior grades or whatever it was. So finally they say, you can go back and see Lieutenant so-and-so, and I go back, and he's got a little cube in the desk. And he said, what can I do for you? Lieutenant J.G. Brant. I said, well, I just, I took a day's vacation. And of course he pulled up my record, he had the big card there. And I said, I was just reading in All Hands about swift boats, and I was just wondering how hard it would be to get a tour, or get one, because I've got less than a year to do in the Navy, and I necessarily don't want to go to destroyer school, and I don't know if I want to make a career out of it. He said, are you saying you're considering going to Vietnam? I said, yeah, I have a little boat. They're out in the ocean there, so to speak, off the coast. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then he asked, are you sure? He says, does your captain know you want to do this? He had my fitness reports there, and I had good fitness reports. I says, no. and he said, you're absolutely sure about this? I said, yeah. He said, well, we're looking for guys with boats. If you're absolutely sure, when you get back to your ship, you'll have orders on the quarterdeck. Okay, I get in my car, I drive back to Norfolk, park in the parking lot. I lived on the ship. Go down to the pier, walk aboard, and I forgot who had the quarterdeck watch. It says, Tuck, what the hell did you do? Didn't do anything. Just took a day off, drove to Washington. The captain says, when you come aboard, he wants to see you as fast as we can get your butt to the cabin. Oh, okay. I go, what the heck? So I go up there, I walk in, and the captain said, what the hell did you do? Didn't do anything. He said, I got your orders here. I can't even get them changed. You're on your way, Ace. You're going to Nam on a swift boat. And I'm going to release you in 4 weeks at the end of going to Puerto Rico or whatever we're doing. So that's how that one happened. Okay. And so then I showed up in San Diego, California. I was single. And for swift boat training, trained in the harbor there, and we did survival school, and we did prisoner of war camp, and did the stuff on the boat, and mastered all the trades on the boat, so everybody was versatile. And from there, it was time to go to Tacoma, Washington, big Army base out of there, where they fly the flights out for a trip to Vietnam. So they bundled up all the guys that were in my class. I think there was I think we had about 7 officers, 5, 7, and a crew, and we're all to show up in Tacoma on such and such date, which we did, and got there, and of course they said, there's a problem with your plane, you're going to have to spend the night, and that kind of stuff, but we'll send you into Tacoma and give you, here's a breakfast at the Holiday Inn, and be back in the morning. So we went to town, we didn't go to bed, we just drank beer, ran around town, came back in the morning, and the plane was ready to go, and they loaded up, went to Alaska for fuel, stopped in Japan for fuel, landed at Cam Ranh Bay. Okay, and, all stateside sailors, so to speak, coming from ships, all the officers had come from a ship, Most of the enlisted had come from a ship, had a specialty, you know, an engine man, radarman, quartermaster, bosun. Those were the gunner's mate. Those were the main skills, you know. And went to Cameron Bay, checked in, because that's where the headquarters for all the Swifts were. There was like 5 piles, you know, Da Nang, Quinyon, Cameron, Catlow, and Antoy. So it was like 5 piles of boats and people there, of course. So we got there and we went and checked in, and that's where the Task Force 115 was. And Chief of Staff says, well, Captain Hoffman, Captain Hoffman isn't here today. He's down in Saigon with the Admiral Zumwalt getting a brief or something. He'll be back tomorrow, but he knows you fellows are coming in, and he wants to talk to you and meet you. And then he wants you to see the brief that he gets every morning on what the 5 piles of guys have done and what's transpired. And he says, because sometimes you get requests or you get things to do and you don't really have the big picture. So he wants to know what he sees every morning. Okay. So he said, come back here Sunday morning, and you know, the Commodore will be in. They call him Commodore. Commodore will be in. And then as soon as you're done, the guys that are going to be stationed here, we'll just send you down to your normal barracks. The rest of the guys will get you a hop or a helo or something, and we'll get you where you're going. And then they told us where we were going. He said, Brant, you're going to Catlow. And the other guy, one guy was going to Nang, one was going to Quinyon, 2 were staying, I think, in Cameron. Okay, you know, so that gave us another night in the barracks there. So we drank some more beer and played volleyball, you know. And next morning we were down there early, waiting to see the Commodore, and Charlie Plumley was his chief of staff. He said, well, just go in, he'll be in a minute. And walked in, and as I remember, it was just a tiny little office with a gray desk, navy desk, all chipped up and painted, with a file cabinet in the corner. If you want to call it an office, you can, but it was kind of a closet with an open door. You know, that was for the good captain. So we're sitting there, and pretty soon here he comes. I get in trouble for saying, but anyway. So we're sitting, so we all come to attention. Attention on deck. Have a seat there, fellas. Okay. So we sit down our little chapter. He starts on the far end, and I was down on the other end. Tell me who you are, what ship you're coming from, where you went to school, you know, a little background on yourself. So the first guy does, and the second guy does. We go all the way down the line, we get to the end, everybody says where they came from, what ship, and what their job was, and everything. And he said, well, my name's Roy Hoffman, and I'm in charge. A little cigar in the corner of his mouth, you know. Little short guy, you know, deep voice. And good to have you aboard here. Here's what we're doing. We're going to go in shortly, and you'll get the brief that I'm going to get, and then I'm going to get you on your way because we need to get you out of there. That was where his was. So we'll head on in there. You know, so the guys are all going. Okay. And he says, I got one more thing to say to you. You know, we're about this high off our chairs. One more thing to say to you. You know, and you know, we kind of look at each other, and he says, there's 5 of you sitting there. One of you is probably a chicken shit. If you know who you are, tell me and I'll have you in the States in a day. I don't want you. We're kind of going, huh? I mean, you know, talk about, huh? Just remember what I said. Boy, you know, wow, what are we getting into here? So we went in, saw the brief. Guys went down to the piers that were there, and they got me a hop, and I showed up in Catlow.